Hello, welcome along once more to the Irish Rally Podcast. We have a bumper edition coming your direction here. This evening we're covering Forestry and we're covering Tar, a hybrid programme brought to you in association with SVS Productions and Tree Rock, sponsors for the Forestry and Tarmac Championships, respectively. Bumper programme, stellar cast as well. We've a good bit to get through, as we always do here on the programme, particularly when we're combining forces here this evening. So we'll be starting with Cian Donnellan very shortly. He'll be giving us the roundup and class winners from the Jim Walsh Cork Forestry Rally. David Condell, Gary Nolan, and Adrian Hetherington then are going to form a two-wheel drive segment and give us some stories, no doubt, in addition to what's after happening last weekend in terms of the forestry side of things. Patrick O'Brien and Jordan Hone, things are fairly tight there, obviously, overall. They'll be coming on together. And after that, we'll be chatting to Jenna McCann and Aoife Raftery. Niall McGonigal will then give us a bit of a look ahead into the Bushwacker Rally, which will be the next round of the Forestry Championship. Following that, then we move our attentions to Tarmac and the Ulster Rally, of course, which is happening this weekend. Richard Swanston is going to be coming on to have a chat with us and giving us a bit of a look ahead to see what we can expect. Brian Duggan, our good friend from Rally.e, is going to join us as well to give us lowdown on the historics, because that, out of everything, is very, very tasty. Anthony Nestor will be along with us as well in a few moments' time. But as we said, I'm going to bring in Cian Donnellan first. Cian, how's things with you?
Kevin, nice to meet you. How are we going?
Sure, not too bad, boss, not too bad. Busy last weekend. Firstly, the best kept secret in the country, Craig Breen. I don't know how he's kept that one under wraps for so long. It must have been quite a task.
Yeah, I suppose, truthfully, behind the scenes, the club probably knew about it the Thursday. It was confirmed about 6 o'clock on the Saturday, to be honest with you, Kev. And then just a request was put out that it was to be low key. Craig wanted to come enjoy the rally. He was good. He was good mate John Bodo Bowden in with him in the focus. It was a sort of a reset for Craig, allow him to enjoy a bit of rallying for a weekend, and he got a bit of testing for the Acropolis done as well, which was a bonus.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously, showed his class early on, albeit only 5 seconds of a lead, I think, after stage one.
Yeah, like if you look at the times, like Craig is his first outing on gravel in Ireland in the focus. It took a small bit of time to obviously show the class that he has, but that's not taken away from the forestry guys there, Patrick and Jordan, who you have later. Like Patrick finished the day 22 seconds off him, and he's admitted himself he sort of backed away, knowing the championship race is the important one this year. So it shows again, like when Craig done the tarmac in 2019, the local Irish guys aren't ones to fall out of his way when he comes to play.
Absolutely. And Craig actually sends his apologies. We did ask him on there this evening, but he sent his apologies. Obviously, very busy with the small matter of the WRC, so understandably so. But we will have a chat with him. Hopefully, all going well at some stage in the not too distant future. Yeah, look, it's good points you've made. Very, very good points, and we'll be delving into those with Patrick a little bit later on, Cian. You want to go down to the class winners there first, I suppose. It's probably the best place to start.
Yeah,
We kind of topped things over the last time and said, let's start with that rather than leave it to the tail end and have people dropping off and stuff. So go for it.
yeah. So like the whole way across the field, we had a big entry, I suppose, on behalf of Cork Motor Club. We're thankful to all the competitors who came down. Class one, Derry Long and Aaron Brown. So Aaron will be familiar to sort of the reverse of their tarmac crew, where Aaron normally drives the 11F car and Derry navigates in the woods. They swap it around, and the boys came home, won the class there. Class two was what probably, I think it is the tightest class in the whole rally, and it shows the speed of the front wheel drive guys in the woods this year. And I know you've got three rear wheel drive men coming up later, but you'll see now, especially the Moonraker, these guys were on the podium on the two wheel drive. But Brendan Cummins won the class by just 0.8 of a second from Ryan Caldwell. So the two of them have been trading places all year on all the events so far, and that's sure to continue with the last two forestry events to come. Class four, then we had Barry Murphy in the Evo. Barry and Conal Doherty won that class. They had about 30 or 35 seconds, I think, to spare over PJ O'Connor. So another really good performance from the lads there. Class five, Cahan McCourt, unlucky to lose out on a podium overall spot. Walks away with the class win there. Himself and Jordan Hone probably had a good battle all day. Cahan had a mistake on four, and he lost a bit of time, and that gave Jordan the advantage, and saw Cahan win the class. And And then Conor McCourt came second there, and Gareth Minor there in third. Seamus McHugh, local hero, brought the Suzuki Swift home on, I think, 2 cylinders left in the yoke. There's definitely not a clutch left in it, but it still got to the finish of yet another event. They won Class 9. Class 10 went to Mike Garrahy and Nearla McCarthy, stalwarts of the sport, stalwarts of the forest. They had a sizable advantage over Michael Murphy and the Sunbeam. 2 guys finishing there. Class 11F was a real ding-dong battle all day, packed full of good local talent. The best 11F forest men in the country were out. Barry Mahon came through, seeded at 28, really showed incredible pace for a guy that wasn't really expected to feature there. Michael Fitzgibbon from Clare, he came second, 6 seconds behind, and a really good breakout result for Danny McAvoy and Angie there in getting third, their first class award in the car together. Alan Tracy brought home the 11R title in the Corolla, again stalwart of the woods, done the event numerous times, another great result. The Rattlebox came back to Cork Forest, a real favourite, Shane McGurr winning Class 13 ahead of Owen Mackin in the historic Escort. Really, really strong result from Shane, to be expected, to be honest. He finished third overall in the 2-wheel drive as well. The 2 gentlemen that are coming up quite soon won Class 14, won the 2-wheel drive, and won the Mark II Master Award. That's Adrian and Gary Nolan. They had 13 seconds to spare over Dave Condell and Paul, and John Gordon finished third there. So that third place for John puts him level with Mickey Conlon now in the 2-wheel drive Forestry Championship. Mark Murphy won Class 15, solo guy in the class, again local crew, but done very well. Class 20 then Derek Mackerel and Eamon Creedon had a stunning drive. Unlucky to not, they finished, I think it was 5th overall. Really good drive from the guys. That pushes them up to 3rd in the championship, and it gave Eamon as well the Danny Creedon Memorial Cup as the leading Cork Motor Club crew. Really good, really nice of Danny's family. Danny, I suppose anyone that wouldn't know him, Danny would have navigated or done 00 driving on Cork Motor Club events for a long time. Sadly lost in the past year, and his family were on hand to present the inaugural trophy. And then finally, the real standout battle all day, the Class 21, the J1000s. Jack Brennan winning on the final stage yet again. Poor old Jack Harris must have absolute nightmares going on to final stages now. Jack had a strong lead and went and spun and got stuck in dust on the final stage, Mount Hillary. And he went from leading by 13 to losing out to Jack by 7.6. And Mossy Costello, again, who's tasted victory so far this year, due to Jack having issues on final stages, he came 3rd in the Junior 1000s to wrap it up.
Right, so I'm sorry for putting you on the spot with this now, but regards to Junior 1000s, to the best of my knowledge, I think Mossy Costello and Jack Brennan are level on points. Now, there's kind of a little bit, I don't know if it's clarified as to whether this championship is now continuing on to the next 2 rounds, because obviously different parts of Ireland obviously have the different regulations and stuff. So do you have any insight into what might be happening there?
No, so the championship doesn't go to the rounds in the north. I don't have an answer on how the championship stands. I haven't checked the points, but no, they definitely don't go to the Bushwacker or the Sperrins.
I'm fairly certain it's 71 each. I think it is. I think it's 71 each.
I think that there is drop scores to be calculated there.
Right. Yeah.
I know Deirdre in the background has her head scratching on that, but it's been an incredible battle between the 2 guys all year, and if you look at the talent that's in that class, the amount of competitors, and then if they look up the board and look at the likes of Kyle McBride, who was in that championship 2 years ago and is now setting times, battling for, at one stage Kyle McBride was second 2-wheel drive on the Moonraker before the final stage drama for him. So there's incredible talent there within that pool of J1000 competitors. There's a couple of guys that were unlucky. Tommy Moffat had a pretty spectacular ending to his rally. There's a couple of other local talents, Tommy Cronin, James Ryan. There's a lot of really, really good competitors in that class, and it's definitely one to look at for the future.
Mm-hmm. Cian, obviously you're heavily involved in media and you have been for some time. But just while I have you on screen, I think it'd be a good opportunity to pass on our condolences to Stefan Lassus here on behalf of the Irish Rally podcast, and someone that you would have met on the ditches quite frequently as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to pass on my condolences to his wife Nora and the family and multiple friends. Stefan is someone that you'd meet at every rally, regardless. You know, if you went to service, you'd bump into him. If you went to the start ramp, he was always there, and he was always one to chat, and he was always one to have a couple of words, and he'd always be showing you his photos from Finland, and I'd have got a photo of a jump on, I don't know, somewhere like Hamilton's Folly, and he'd show it to Stefan, and he'd laugh, and he'd go, that's not a real jump. Wait until I show you this, and the phone would come out. But no, an absolute gent. Really had a lot of good time as a young photographer starting out. He was one of the people that would sort of take you to one side, show you different tips and tricks, and he's someone that I reach out to and chatted to an awful lot. So no, definitely a massive loss, and I think that's clear right across social media today. If you look at the outpouring from so many sources, so absolutely, I'd like to echo your message there.
Yeah, Cian, thanks a million for joining us here this evening. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
There we go, Cian Donnellan. Also, I'd like to pass on our condolences to Kevin Cahill of the Munster Car Club, who passed away in the past week. The Irish Tarmac Rally Championship Facebook page have issued a statement there in relation to Stefan and Kevin. Okay, so we're going to move on to the two-wheel drive bios. Now, I don't see any sign of Mr. David Condell in the background, but we do have Gary Nolan and Adrian Hetherington for the time being anyway. How are you, gentlemen?
Good.
Hey, Kevin, you getting on?
Not too bad at all. Enjoyed last weekend?
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Good fun. Gary, you spent a lot of time with this fella. You're back with him, I suppose, in more recent times. And the adjustment hasn't been quite bad, has it, in fairness?
No. Like it is, we've done a lot of rallying over the years, and I suppose just different things change, and I haven't been sitting on as much. I was delighted to get the opportunity to sit on for Cork there last weekend, and it was great to get back in the seat. Definitely a case of absence makes the heart grow fonder. It was great crack now, so I was delighted to be back, and there was definitely no bedding in period. It was full bore from the first stage anyway. So
yeah, so a seamless transition again, Adrian, because you had Ronan O'Neill obviously sitting in with you a good bit over the past couple of years too. But I always ask this question: where do the two boys differ? Because it doesn't seem to matter. You're still flying it.
Well, they're both very good navigators and good organisers, and it was just unfortunate Ronan wasn't going to be able to complete the rest of the rallies over the summer with other commitments that he had. So it was good that Gary was able to step in there and take his place, and it's good to have him back as well. He's a bit of a blood and thunder man, I suppose. Gary, and Ronan's more a cool sort of a character, you know. So there is a difference between the two, and that's probably it. Like.
Yeah. Garrett, obviously, as I said there, you know, you've had some great times down through the years and great memories, and you're a great man for bringing up old times in general across social media. I see pictures of Austin McHale from years back and all that, but I'm sure you have a tale or two to tell alongside this fella.
Most of them you couldn't be telling live, now, to be honest with you.
We're all for it. There's no watershed here. They don't exist.
Not after hours job stories, so do it. But no, listen, plenty of great stories. To be honest with you, I've often said it, there's a story from nearly every rally. There's never a dull moment sitting in with Adrian. Obviously we're great friends, but I have great respect for him as well. He's a man who, he's different to maybe a lot of people who rally, maybe in the current climate. Adrian isn't a big man for championships or anything like that. It's every day, it's try to win every day. It's as simple as that. It's put your best foot forward. You know, go as hard as you can. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If someone beats you, someone beats you. You know, but no, listen, there's plenty of stories, all right, plenty of good times, that's for sure. And yeah, maybe some days it didn't work out. Maybe some days we overcooked it or whatever. But you know what? You wouldn't change anything anyway, like, you know.
One thing's for sure, Adrian, you haven't slowed down with age anyway.
Well, I hope not. There was for a while there, I was starting to think I was slowing down a wee bit, but Sunday gave me a bit of a boost there, and it was a win that I really needed, to be honest with you. I had a bit of a lull this year with a few bits and pieces of accidents that I had over in Wales and that, and Donegal didn't work out that well for me either. So Sunday was a well needed tonic, to be honest with you, Kevin.
You don't really seem to do bedding back in though. You're just you're just full felt each time, whereas other lads and understandably so would be trying to ease back in because they'd have, I suppose, the ghost of of past, I won't say failings, but misdemeanors is probably the best way of putting it. But doesn't seem to bother you too much. Just in you go again and on you go.
Well, I keep telling my friend Marty Toner there, the first stage is the most important stage, and on Sunday it was the most important stage. That was once we got the confidence of being quickest on the first stage. I think we're pretty hard to stop after that. You get your tail up.
Mm-hmm. Gary, down around there seemed to be great camaraderie over the weekend. Obviously, you mentioned Craig was back around, but seemed to be good vibes all around.
Oh, it's very good, and it's always like that, especially in the forest, Kevin, to be honest with you. But no, it was great for myself anyway. It was just great to be back around people that I'd rallied around a lot for years. Like, it was great to be rallying against Shane, and like even more recent times, John Gordon, Mickey Conlon, and David as well. They've all come to the fore in Irish Forestry rallying, and I suppose Adrian had gone 4-wheel drive for a while and then historic rallying and that. So it was probably the first time in a while I got to race the boys, modified cars, all of us in modified cars. But it was great. With Adrian tell you before all the stages and all, everyone, like even before the start of the first stage there, I remember Stephen Corey had a puncture or something like that, and everyone was in straight away, giving him a hand to change a wheel before the first stage, So no, it's great. It's great. They're great rallies to be around, and they're great people to be competing with and racing against. It's good crack, and it's everyone wants to win, but everyone wants to see everyone do well as well,
Mm-hmm. Adrian, you're obviously a man who loves the tar, loves the forestry. I'm going to have to ask you what do you prefer, but in general, isn't it mad? Like some people, and I've said this quite frequently, quite often, some lads are just pure forestry or gravel, whatever you want to call it, and some lads are pure tar. Is there a particular preference for you? And if so, what is it?
Honestly, I don't have a preference between the two. I enjoy both. When I'm doing tar, I don't think one thing about the forest, and vice versa. When I'm in the forest, the tar doesn't come into it. It's very the one thing I noticed about the Forestry Championship this year, and probably over the last few years, is that the two-wheel drive battle, like Mickey Conlon, John Gordon, Shane, all them boys, if I've missed anybody, they're going for it's very like the tar. You've Gary Kiernan and Kevin Eves and them on the limit on tarmac, but it's exactly the same thing on that gravel. If you lift off on one corner, you're not going to get a time, So it's very competitive, and I enjoy anything that is competitive. So I don't really have a preference. I enjoy both.
How would you, Gary?
Yeah, like it's kind of similar to Adrian. It's hard to say a standout preference. Like it's all racing. It's all good racing. Like the tarmac, you have very much high speed, and with some of the stages when they're very committed. I suppose it really is the same for both. Like, once you're very committed to carrying the speed on both, and it's very enjoyable then when you're on the limit. I suppose that's what it is when you're racing hard. Like as Adrian said, if you look at the times there on the 6 stages, we got to jump on the boys on the first stage, and it was an eye opener for me, to be honest. I've been out of the car for the goods of 3 years, so it was definitely an eye opener. But like if you look at the times, there was very, very little in it on any of the stages. There was I think on a couple of the stages we were tying, all on the 2 and 3 of us on the same second, and that's what it's all about. It's racing, hammer and tongs, and then if you're lucky enough to come out on top at the end of it, it's very satisfying,
Mm-hmm. Gar, while I have you, we should give a mention to the Wexford Rally, 10th and 11th of September, I think. There's lots of great incentives which I've shared some of on the podcast page, but while you're on air, sure, you might as well give them a jingle there as well.
Yeah, listen, the event it's definitely building up to be a great event. It's the 50th anniversary this year, and it's been well publicised now that we're delighted to have Michael Hirvinen coming over to compete in Kevin Dolphin's 2.5 Millington Escort. There's a lot of good men coming down to race him. It's very known. Gary Kieran gave Miko a great race in Clonakilty back in 2019, and Gary's intending on returning to race him. And this man, all going well, will be going as well. And I don't know what it's got a full entry. It's over. I think over 150 entries in already. There's a good R5 entry. There's a good two-wheel drive entry, and of course, there's a certain Mr. James Stafford will definitely have no doubt. No matter what four-wheel drives are entered, whoever comes down will be hard pushed to get past him also.
Mm-hmm. There was something you had up there which caught the eye. The fee, I think, for juniors firstly was very reasonable. The stage mileage is very good. And the other thing that grabbed me was about if you supplied a marshal or two, I think, wasn't it? You got a guaranteed entry. Was that something that you ran with?
It prioritizes the entry. I suppose in the scenario where it's evolved that I think it's heading for 160 entries now. So the marshal being supplied prioritizes your entry, guarantees you your entry. Also, as you said, with the juniors, it's a very competitive entry fee, and also if both juniors marshal on the Saturday, there's €100 reduced off the entry fee of that. So the club, make no bones about it. We're a club that does everything we can to support the clubmen. The event, they've tried to do something different this year. It's an 18-stage event. It's one thing you can turn around and say that the mileage is still, you can only max out and be the same, but Adrian will testify, even although it was Forestry at the weekend there, the night rallies are tough, and if you stretch them out and you have more starts and you have more finish, it's harder work on the driver, the navigator, and you can guarantee that whether the mileage is the same or not, if you have a 9-stage event during the day, is going to be an awful lot more work than a 6-stage event for a crew, So 18-stage events for a very, very competitive entry fee for both main field and the juniors as well, getting a very competitive mileage for a very reasonable entry fee. It bodes well for a great event, to be honest. To be honest with you, I'm on here talking about it, but there's a hell of a lot of people in the background, far more so than myself. I've done an awful lot of work this year on the event to try and make it as best I can. And to be fair, the return from competitors entering is a signal that they've definitely done what competitors want to see done.
Good stuff. You said it fairly well anyway, in fairness. But no, a lot of people have remarked upon the incentives, and it's something that I thought was fantastic. And fair play to everyone that's putting in the work. And like, least we forget, a couple of years ago when we had no events, Wexford were the ones, pushing fairly strong to run. And obviously the lockdown ended that, but plans were in place, and I thought that was quite admirable at the time as well. So definitely forward thinking. Adrian, what apart from Wexford is on the horizon over the next few weeks and months for you?
Well, me and Gary we're going to Galway summer here on the 20th for a bit of a shakedown before Wexford, and then obviously after Wexford we hopefully have the Bushwacker, and well, obviously if the Spurns is the last round of the championship, we'll probably try and do that as well. So I can't really. I'd say that's probably it for the year. That's the right bit, but looking forward to next year and looking forward to getting out to England to the historic championship, to be honest with you, and the RAC obviously in November next year. It'll be a big event for me, so that's kind of what my plans are.
Good stuff. The RAC in particular, right? That's another thing I wanted to ask you about. Is there a similar alternative, regardless of the surface, that you could ever see happening on this island?
Well, probably the one they all talk about is the re-resurrection of the proper Circuit of Ireland, I suppose. I've heard a lot of talk about that, with historic cars starting in Belfast and trying to make it end up in Belfast again and covering all of Ireland. It'd be a marathon event to, for historic motorsport,
Yeah. Gar, you'd like to see that happening? You'd like to be a part of it?
Oh yeah, it's it'd be great. It would be great. Like, there's no denying it. But it will be very difficult to see how you could make an event like that. Like Tarmac and Woods is a lot different, like with road closing orders and the likes of it. The costs of running it in the current climate, and as Adrian knows across the water, the historic championship is massive over there. Like there's big interest in it. They've got a major base to pull with the Roger Albert Clark, and although don't get me wrong, it will be great to see an old type Circuit of Ireland for historic cars and all, but it will be a major ask, and especially in the current climate, it'd be a big ask, but it'd be great to see at the same time,
Adrian, in fairness, last year and wherever time you do it, sure, it's such a demanding event, like concentration, everything, the service crew, like so much has to go into it, money wise, time, energy, not a whole lot of sleep.
No, well, last year especially, it was very challenging now with the weather that we got on the Friday evening, and also the weather we got on the Sunday. We're more or less rallying on sheet ice all day Sunday, and we lost Saturday as well because of the storm up in Scotland, But it's a massive commitment. Probably the worst part of it is watching the DVD for 6 weeks before it. But no, we have a good service crew there with them and the boys, and they give us great support at it,
I have someone in here at the 11th hour. David Condell, how are you doing?
Well, lads, how's things?
You're on the overtime.
It's all going on in not in the house, outside and wherever else. So I'm only home from work, and I said there was no point in trying to chat along the road. So I got home, got in, and said I'd see could I join in anyway.
Good stuff. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, even though you're under pressure. We were mooting here about an equivalent of an RAC in Ireland. Could it be a goer? Would you be interested?
Well, geez, I'd surely be interested, but have we enough road mileage?
What do you think, lads?
Well, I suppose it would be down to the individual. It probably would have to be an amalgamation of all the clubs, that would have to take their own segment of it. I haven't really given it a lot of thought, but is that not the way it worked in years gone by, that each club that was in that particular area run a certain amount of stages, and that's the way it worked.
Just if it could be brought together, it'd be sure to be like a Circuit of Ireland. In fairness to it, it'd be epic, or it'd be poetry. I suppose when you do actually think of it, the amount of stages that was covered in the RAC, so we're covering the same here across the year with Forestry rallies. So it wouldn't be and probably, I suppose, as well, when you think about going from Scotland down into the mainland in England, like sure it's you're going to cover the same amount of ground even if you go from the north of Ireland into the south of Ireland, isn't that right?
Yeah. But you're on a gravel. I suppose it will work on gravel too. The same. It probably would be easier on gravel because you wouldn't have the road closings to look about and things like that too. So I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something could be considered in both surfaces.
If it could be got together, it'd be a nice challenge anyway. In fairness, wouldn't it?
I think we need a Colin Hepsnell.
All right.
Yeah, Dave, sorry, that half broke up with me there for a sec, whatever's going on. But I was just chatting with the boys about a couple of things, and I'm sorry, we are a little bit tight on time or whatever, but the Forestry in particular, the battles, I suppose, last weekend, and then maybe a flavour of the battles you've had with Adrian, I keep calling him Adrian, it's like a hybrid name, Adrian Hetherington, down through the years. Maybe give us a flavour of those, and maybe...
That's right, as I said, straight up, the reason I go rallying is because of Adrian and the likes, Frank Kelly and as I say, Wesley Patterson and so on and so forth, and to be able to go out and go into competition against them, Shane McGurr and Mickey and John and David Cross and all the rest, there's a right good handful of men there that they won't just let you off there and have a free run to yourself, Ranton. So like Saturday or Sunday was it was a brilliant day, very warm day, and sure maybe lads have already covered all the issues. Like I was literally choked with dust. I'm hoping. I know every time we came to the end of the stage, what was the dust like? Oh, it was bad. But I think a 2-litre car might just kick up as much dust as a 2.5, and by J.S. Adrian was kicking up some dust. So it was definitely a challenge to get to the stage safely. We were coming to chicanes and stuff, and sure, you could see the 3-to-1 board, but like when you got to the bales, you didn't know where to were. And then there was an odd corner a tight corner where, you know, you'd have to brake hard coming into it and then you'd be accelerating hard going over it, and it was really bad as well. So, but look, everyone we spoke to, they had the same problem. It wasn't just me or anything else like that, but I knew Adrian was trying hard in front, so we had it was an uphill battle all day, but a great battle, and I really, really enjoyed it, and look forward to the next one and the next one, you know, and so on and so forth.
Good stuff. Last but not least, lads, I'm going to leave you on this note now. I've been on to Mick Cody a few times over the last few months. I'm getting you 2-wheel drive-bys up into that bar at some point, and we're going to do a live podcast because there's stories to be told, and maybe he'll throw us out a few pints of Guinness as well. And with more Guinness or a beverage of your choice, you know, you get a bit looser and the stories start flowing a bit more. I'd love to hear them. I'd absolutely love to hear them. So, Davey, if you're talking to Cody, I can't really get hold of him, but you might give him a rub about that and see if we make it happen.
I don't think anyone can. He's a very hard man to be got, to be fair. But I actually said that, Adrian, remember we were joking blowing on the morning, we were saying we should organise a busload of people, and okay, maybe a busload to take over the place, but sure, maybe that's what we should do, in fairness.
Yeah, it'll be good cracking. I'd definitely go on that bus.
That's the job.
I may drive the bus.
There we go. It's happening. David Condell, Adrian Hetherington, and Gary Nolan, thanks a million. We'll chat to you again.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks,
Cheers, Kevin. Thank you.
Pat. There we go. That's tip of the iceberg stuff with the gents, and hopefully we'll be able to dig a bit deeper into stories over the next few months. I'm going to bring in Jordan Hone and Patrick O'Brien. How you doing, gents?
Good evening, Kevin. How are you?
We're running slightly behind schedule, so I apologise to all the guests who are waiting behind me here, and actually forgot to hit send on Patrick's link, so apologies for that as well. One man Wolfpack here this evening, but guys, you're having a fair battle in the overall scheme of things. We'll chat about the weekend firstly. Patrick, I'll start with you. We mentioned it earlier. I think only 5 seconds off Craig on stage one. You must have been buzzing, I'd say, going into the next one, were you?
Yeah, I was buzzing going into the next one, but secretly, I know I don't have them leading, but it'd be nice to come out to get the lead. But no, it didn't happen. It's hard to match Craig.
Jordan, problems for you, I think, early on from doing a bit of research.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. No, we had a turbo leak. A boost pipe was leaking in the first 3 stages. So lack of power and coming to the junctions, especially in the fast stages down in Cork. So struggled with that, but got back into service and the lads got it sorted. So all good from them.
Yeah, I suppose relieved and happy to have it sorted for the second loop and back out again for another crack at it. We should probably give Adam Platt a shout out on that note, will we?
Yeah, no, thanks to Adam and the lads in service. They managed to turn it around in 30 minutes service. So no, fair play to them, man.
And Patrick, what was it like in general, I suppose, for you guys, seeing Mr. Breen there, having the crap in among them and all that, and, just everything being so seamless, like, it must have been a very good experience.
Yeah, it was a cool experience to be at the start line and just chatting to Craig as if he could have been anywhere. Like, it was pretty cool, starting behind him even on the road, and watching them leave it. Sort of a surreal moment, but once you get into the stage, it's you don't be thinking too much about that.
Just looking at the battle between you two guys, there's not a whole lot between you. From records, is 10 points the margin? Am I getting that right?
That's what it is on paper now. The minute now, but drop scores come on that, and I don't know how that affects us. But at the minute, I'm leading by 10 points, and Patrick's behind.
Drop scores are the bane of my life, lads, because obviously we're going to be chatting about the Ulster Rally coming up later as well. And I tell you, I was never great at maths at school. I repeated the leaving cert as well, just for good measure. But even if you knew anything about maths at all, it's still a bit of a challenge. But you know what? Luckily, we've Brian Duggan from Rally.ie on a little bit later. So he knows a little bit about spreadsheets and stuff. That's way above my pay grade. But big battles ahead, Jordan, in fairness. And Patrick, like for both, like with the Whackers coming up, we're going to be chatting to Niall McGonigal about that very, very shortly as well. But you're enjoying it. A good, healthy, competitive rivalry, yeah?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I remember from 12, 13 years of age racing Patrick in an Opel Corsa and a Nova, and now we're in R5 car, so it's still as competitive as ever was. So now it's familiar in that in them terms, but no, it's good racing, and hopefully more good racing in the Bushwacker and the Experience at the end of the year.
It's all happening very quickly, Patrick. In fairness, the years are trucking along there, aren't they? Like when you think of the comparison to machinery now, like.
Yeah, I can't get rid of him. He's always there. No, yeah, like Jordan said, I remember racing in the Corsa days, and it's no different. It's just maybe the speeds are a lot higher now, and if you hit it a bang of a bale, it's a lot dearer.
Yeah.
But yeah, still the same hunger to win.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. The academy in general, Patrick. Just a word on that. We had Alan Heary on here very recently. Actually, I thought some of the way the man thinks is just like he doesn't think the same as a normal human being, but it makes so much sense once you hear what he has to say. Like, and it's so the thing that strikes me is that it's actually so basic, but yet you'd struggle to think of it off the top of your head. Like,
yeah, like Monday morning straight away, we were being messaged into the WhatsApp group, like what we should be doing, fluids we should be taking in, ice. Like he was telling me that I need to carry ice in the car, and I'm thinking, Jesus, Alan, how am I supposed to carry ice in the car? But there is this, like, it's like a bar that you crack open and you can put it on your neck, and it keeps you cold. And it sounds silly, but it works. Like it was so nice in the car when you were roasted. So no, a fantastic person and a wealth of knowledge.
mm-hmm. I think, Jordan, in fairness, with the like of all this stuff, once you see someone doing it, then you get the idea for it, and you can push on it and adapt it. And it's no different to coaching, I think, in anything, or learning if you're behind the wheel of a rally car or anything in life. You know, you take bits and pieces from what people are doing, and kind of hone in on it, in addition to what your obvious strengths and talents are, and then all of a sudden you're going places. I think that's kind of the way it has to be, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, no, you're always talking and listening to the people, and trying to pick up on advice as you go along. And yeah, no, anything that you can try and get an advantage out of anybody is something worth doing.
It's not always easy to listen either, though, guys, because you will get a bit of criticism every now and then. Once it's constructive, I suppose you don't really mind, but occasionally it's not the easiest to take. But I suppose like anything, you take it in moderation, and you try and move on with it. Is that something you've had difficulty with? Patrick, I'll chat to you first there about that.
Not so much. Yeah, I listen to the good things. If something is not worth of listening to, I don't really take it on too much. The good stuff I listen to. The bad, it doesn't affect me too much. It's just over my head and on to the next thing.
How would you, Jordan? Probably depends on who's saying it too, I suppose, being the obvious factor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, you have to take advice and try and learn as much as you can as you go along. You know, yeah. Bad or good, all good. Yeah. All advice is good.
So the Whacker then, lads. Anything else in the pipeline before that, Ratton, or what are we looking at? Is it just full steam ahead for that?
The Lakeland, maybe. I might give it a go. That's always good, really. Good test for the Bushwacker as well.
Yeah, I just think I'll be doing a few tests, I think, before the Bushwacker. Some things I want to change with the car. So I think just a few tests for me, and then I'll be ready for it.
What are you going to change, Patrick?
I don't know. I'll see.
There we go. Best of rivals, best of secrets, the whole lot. We'll discuss all at the end of the season, says you. Jordan, Patrick, thanks a million for jumping on with us here this evening. The best luck there for the rest of the year. All right.
Thank you, Kel.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a million. There we go. Jordan Hone and Patrick O'Brien. I see Anthony Nestor lurking around in the background. Might bring him in with Aoife Raftery on standby as well. We're going to speak to Jenna McCann. So we've a nice bit to go through. I think we have a comment in as well. Great to see these two lads on. They really have brought the Irish Forestry Championship alive. Great battles between these two men. Great to watch. Good stuff indeed. That comes in from East Coast Rallying. Don't forget as well, look, obviously, you're watching. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We're on Instagram as well, at Irish Rally Pod is our link. Anthony Nestor is lurking in the background, as I said. Brian Duggan is on standby as well. Niall McGonigal will be joining us in a couple of moments' time, and we'll be turning our attentions to the Ulster Rally. Just to let you know, I suppose that is what's happening over the weekend. The Wexford Rally 10th and 11th of September, and the Whacker coming up a week, I think, after that as well. So plenty happening indeed. I'm waiting on Mr. Nestor. I can see him here in the background. All I see is a blank door. He knows he's supposed to be on. But I tell you what we might do. We might jump across. I think he's coming to the screen here now. There you go. Jesus, he left me hanging on that one. Nestor to the rescue. How are you getting on, sir? Can you hear us?
Hello.
How's life with you?
I'm the best. I'm getting packed for the Ulster. That's what I'm at.
Oh, good man. You're rushing around as usual. Heading up tomorrow morning, yeah?
No, Reiki tomorrow is from you can collect road books around 4:00, and I think it's about 5:30 or that way. From 5:30 to 9:00 tomorrow night, you can Reiki Day 1 stages, and the following morning, then from 9 till lunchtime, to Reiki Day 2 stages. So I'd say, judging by the timetable, we'll probably get 2 runs over the stages, but I think that's what they want done anyway. Just 2 runs, a bit like the British Championship or the FIA system. But yeah, once it's the same for everybody, it makes no difference really. But I was thinking, actually, I had the loudspeaker on while I was getting packed up here, and I see Patrick O'Brien. I was just thinking, he finished second. I don't follow the gravel events as much as I used to, but he finished second the last day, didn't he, to Craig Breen? And yes, I'm sure he'd like to have Patrick and his family have been down testing with us here in Limerick at the beginning of this year for a day. But I think it'll be lovely in time. Can you imagine the stories he'll be able to tell? What, he finished 20 seconds behind Craig Breen? So wait till Craig Breen becomes world champion. That'll be a nice thing to say, that you did a rally with him and you finished 20 seconds behind him.
Sure,
won't be the worst thing in the world on the CV then, won't it?
Oh,
that'll be a damn nice second place to be able to tell the grandkids.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring in Jenna McCann, who's backstage. Aoife Raftery is logged on, but I can't see the camera turned on, so we'll just see how things go there. Jenna, how's things with you?
Well, how's it going?
Not too bad. Welcome along. You enjoyed last weekend?
I did, surely, yeah. Class. That was our second event in the R5. And yeah, we put in a few decent times throughout the day. Pace got quicker, confidence grew. Yeah, so a good day all around now. It was a big learning curve.
I noticed, actually, I was giving a help out with the results down in Ballyvourney, and I was watching your stage times, obviously, as being the first day out, and there's a massive difference in seconds per mile. It's a couple of seconds per mile quicker in last weekend than it was this week, or than it was in Ballyvourney.
Oh, definitely. But
huge difference. You beat people that beat you the last day. That's usually because the Forestry seems to regular people all the time.
Yeah, no, I know. But before the Moonraker, sure, we were converting the car to right-hand drive, and it was literally done the Friday, ready to go, and then we were heading to Cork then on the Saturday. So I didn't even get a spin in the car. So yeah, I kind of didn't know what I was in for. So that explains that. So anyway, we got a bit of a test there a couple of weeks ago. Just a test for the Jim Walsh there, because a waste of time going otherwise, and it made all the difference. Seat time is what you need, and yeah, got to kind of learn a bit more about the car and the handling and what I was fit for and what it was fit for, and yeah.
I've Aoife after here. I'm just going to bring her in as well. Aoife, how's things?
Good, Kevin. Thanks for having me on. How are you keeping?
You're flying it now. Great to have you back on again. I think it was February. The Galway Rally was the last time we were talking to you. So yeah, we've a nice bit done since then, Aoife. We've been overseas, and tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we've done a lot actually since we've last been on. The overseas adventure was we headed to San Marino for a gravel rally over there. That was a brilliant experience, something new completely, and we went over to learn and have fun, and we did that, and it was just a great event to do.
Yeah, the one thing that struck me over the last number of months is seat time, be it tar, be it gravel. You're getting plenty and plenty of that. Jerling McBride has been with you recently too. So yeah, that's seat time is what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, this year we went for the aim of getting as much seat time and experience as possible and building that up. And journeying has been a huge help as well. That consistency and having a good navigator has really brought me on as well. And I think it's starting to show a bit more as well in the times, and it's starting to come together as well.
Mm-hmm. Go on, Anthony.
These navigators are a bit of a dying breed, really, aren't they? They're getting scarce.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but she has a lot of experience.
Oh, she has, yeah. No, but I'm saying is there's so little. It's so hard to get navigators nowadays, and you did actually very well to get Geraldine in that, trying to pick somebody that you click with. And you'd see over the years where you could be with somebody for years and years and years, and then just change to somebody and just a different character. They may be no better or no worse, but it's just the way you click with them, and you just seem to just move up a level. I've seen 2 or 3 guys local enough here to us recently, and it makes a little difference, and it just seems to elevate the drivers a bit. I think, Jenny, you're kind of, you can never change navigator. You're just, that's it.
That's why I'm laughing here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I was thinking the same. Not a pup's chance in hell. Won't be happening.
Yeah,
I think Kevin is at a loss here for that one, but I'll let Jenny.
No, I understand.
You know,
I understand. Yeah. I was going to remark on the forestry in general, Jenna, because you've a big grow for that you've had for some time, obviously.
Say that again.
The forestry in general, like you've a big grow for it. You have had for some time, and it goes in line with what we were saying earlier about some people loving the tar, some people loving the gravel. Aoife's getting a lot of time doing both. But what is it about the forestry that tickles your fancy?
To be honest with you, like I did the forest a few years ago in the R2, and funny enough, I actually didn't really enjoy the gravel in the R2. And I loved the tarmac, but I don't know what it was. It just wasn't for me. But anyways, we have an Evo at home, and I started to do a few autocross events in the gravel, and I just obviously 4-wheel drive in the gravel. And that was it. I was like, no, I want to do more gravel event, 4-wheel drive. So did a couple of forests before COVID, and yeah, that's it. Did a forest in the Evo at the beginning of the year, and sure now we're in the R5, and yeah, it's gravel for me for now anyway.
Anthony, I'm going to bring you into this, right? Because it seems to me in recent years, while there's always been female competitors in rallying, participation level seems to have gone much higher. And I don't know if that's in line with the 2020 initiative that was done 3 or 4 years back, but it does seem quite evident. And Aoife, I'll bring you in on this because, obviously it's only the last couple of years you've kind of got involved, and camaraderie and everything seems quite good. And would it, like, I suppose one time this might have been a daunting thing, but now it's just so standardized now, isn't it?
I think if you go back many years ago, there was certainly, and as Aoife alluded to, I think Geraldine McBride was co-driving for years. And if you ever listen to people, lady co-drivers in car, and you see how calm they are, there's one thing, and it was only pointed out to me today, actually, in a furniture store of all places. Ladies, women, whichever, I don't know what's the politically correct way to address the female, but they are brilliant at multitasking. Mother of God, they're brilliant at it, and they're so calm that men by their nature get into a flap and get into a handling over bits and pieces. But if you watch lady co-drivers, certainly they're calm, and because they're calm, you'll become calm. And the whole thing gets so relaxed. A couple of lady co-drivers over the years have sent me their in-car. It's the first thing you spot all the time is how calm and relaxed, and the whole thing is kept. It's just interesting to watch. As regards to participation, inclusivity has been the greatest buzzword for the last number of years, and sure, absolutely, why not? It's there for everybody. I personally, I welcome it. I think it's brilliant. Absolutely. I don't think there's anyone on the country that would say it's not. I'll be interested to see where the two lads develop there. If you watch, Aoife is doing seat time and putting in the mileage. Jenna's after improving so much in 2 events. Let's see where she's going to be after 6 or 8 events. There's a lot of boys going to be going home embarrassed with tails between legs within 12 months, because remember this, they're competing and beating guys currently that are at it 20 years. and they're probably not at it 10 years between them. Am I right in saying that? So just give it a chance. Like it's but look, it's if you, no matter what way you look at rallying in this country, it's a hobby. We do it to get away from the hassle of work. And do we enjoy it? You'd be very foolish to be doing it if you didn't. But yeah, it's a great day out. And of course, remember now you have the Women's Commission, which actually we're going to do a program maybe on this maybe after the Ulster. So it'll be interesting. We could have the lads back on again. I don't know whether they're involved in that or not. But all good.
Is there anything you want to expand on there, Jenna or Aoife? Anything that Anthony said, or?
I think it's a very welcoming community. Like I don't see any difference just because I'm a girl, and it's really nice to see that at events and people take you serious. You know you're not there just for, like, you're there to try and do your best and compete. And I think it's good, and it's like there's a nice few female co-drivers. It'd be nice to see a few more drivers coming up in the next couple of years. But no, it's great.
But remember, when they see yourself and Jenna competing, that's if you look at the 8, 9, 10, 12-year-olds of today, and they're watching you competing. So instead of they watching the Gaelic football, they'll go home to their parents, mammy, and absolutely torture them till they get them a go-kart, and next thing the evolution starts. So it has to start somewhere, and that's where it'll start. So they see a role model. So like Aoife and Jenna be the role model, and next thing, yeah, mammy, we want to do that. And it's only the little kids, and it's only small things. Donna Kelly pointed this out at one of our commission meetings there, maybe the second last one. Even if they have a family fun day, or see if little young chaps or young kids come into a service area, and this goes for male and female, regardless if a young boy or girl comes into a service area and they're looking at the car, and they're not going to come up to you at that age, but they may have an interest. And I would always say, go over to them. And I haven't the friendliest face in the world, and then fucking not a lot I can do about that now. But I'd make a point of going over to the kids and saying, here, would you like to sit in? And they're always going to say no, and give them a bit of space. Go on, and open the door and kind of leave it, and let them sit in, and let the parents take the picture. And, they remember things like as we all remember. I certainly remember my first event that I went spectating to, and like you looked at these guys and even our 2s or our 5s or the equivalent of the day, and so you wouldn't dare go within 50 feet of the car. You'd be either too embarrassed or too quiet, or a bit shy. And maybe the kids today are not like that, but I think it's important to let them come in and touch the car, sit in the car, look at the car, give them a guided tour of the buttons, whatever, and that'll generate interest over time, you never know where it'll end up.
100%. We're going to have to call it quits there for now, but as Anthony said, when that episode is coming up, we might call upon you again for I suppose a longer discussion. But before we do finish up, what is next on the pipeline for both of you? Jenna, you first.
Well, sure, we're doing the Forestry Championship at the minute, so the next round of that is Bushwacker, but Lakeland is coming up, which is handy for us. It's only in Enniskillen, so we might aim for that for a bit of a test for the Bushwacker. We'll see how things go. So finish out the year then, yeah.
Aoife?
We're back to Tarmac for the Galway summer, so yeah.
Good stuff. Well,
that'll
listen,
be the next event.
The very best luck to both of you, and thanks for jumping on with us here this evening, all right?
Thanks a million for having us on.
Night, folks. Nice
Jenna McCann and Aoife Raftery. Now, Niall McGonigal is going to jump in and tell us all about the Bushwacker rally. Now, Niall, it's funny, you sent me a message earlier and you said, I won't be very professional at this. And I said, Anthony, we're amateur at best anyway, so you'll be in good company. So welcome along. How are you now?
Not too bad, boys. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Niall. As you can know by this outfit, we're as rough as the bears are, so it don't matter if a few beeps, we can edit all that out afterwards. Don't worry that it's live. We've a way of getting around it.
What's happening?
Yeah.
That's a very prominent photograph I see in the background there. Actually, I remember that day.
That's a wee while ago now. That doesn't belong slipping on. Time always against us.
It's hard to believe, yeah, it's that long ago. Flipping hell.
That doesn't belong slipping on me, that's for sure. I just was lucky to get here. I was actually out on a test there for the Ulster. I just got on time, so you're lucky to get me.
Go on.
I don't know what the weather is like for the Ulster. I didn't go studying it for this week, but
I don't think we'll have the blister in our head last week, but hopefully it might be too bad. I think it gives rain on Saturday, but Friday should be fair enough.
Well, fingers crossed. So are you at the helm and the Bushwacker again this time?
Oh, well, look, hey, we're a team, I suppose. As you well know, it takes a big team to run an alley. Everybody has to have their shoulder at the wheel to make it happen. So
absolutely, it's a fabulous event. It always was a really good event. I've done it with Stuart in the past. Now it's a number of years since I did it, obviously, but yeah, good memories of it. And I think what you find is that event that you're involved in there, and the same went for the Down Rally. You can see competitor involvement stamped all over it, because everything just flows and everything you want is under your hand, and it's so easy to work with a club or compete in an event that a competitor or even like yourself or any other competitor for that matter that has had a hand in the organising of it, just it makes it a much better event. Always did, no matter what event.
Well, look, like it's no different for me or you to go anywhere around the country for an event. You want it to be as easy as it can from you get there to you go home. You kind of try and put that wee touch to it, so you make it that easy for the competitor. They're paying to be there, and they're a customer at the end of the day. So you have to try and accommodate them as best you can. And Bushwacker has a name. It has a name always had. Like some different people call it the Donegal of gravel rally. You know what I mean? So.
And I suppose the proof of the pudding is in that people keep coming back to it, and that tells you that the product, it's, as you said, their customers, the product you're selling, they like it, and they keep coming back for more. So.
Yeah, well, I remember last year. I know we were just back from COVID and blah blah blah, but like I remember opening the entries last year, and we actually them open. I think now at this stage, and 2 hours there was 110 entries, and that was us max. Like we haven't done the reserve then, but I know this year entries are starting to slow down now after Donegal and whatever. But look, we hopefully have 100 yards again this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept actually, the way Ireland, and this is the whole of Ireland, like it. The whole thing starts to taper after Donegal, regardless. One would wonder if there was a lottery sometime and they ran Donegal in January. I'm sure there'll be someone on from Donegal that will go absolutely nuts by saying that. But if we swap Donegal and Galway, I'd love to know when it would taper off. But I think the pinnacle of the tarmac certainly is Donegal, and it takes a few weeks or months in some cases to recover from it. It's certainly severe both on the wallet and on time. But,
well, we're back this year again as part of the Forest Championship. We haven't been for, I can't remember now, is it 3 or 4 years? I suppose we lost 2 years, but we haven't been a part of it for a month. So it's good to be back part of that again, and we're the penultimate round, so that keeps out bringing the race. You know what I mean?
I think to be remiss of us not to mention Terry. To be fair, he's a great man to promote the gravel rallying, as his predecessors did before him. He really tries hard to get everybody involved and push the gravel events. And he's right, because if they don't, I personally think the events will start to taper off.
Well, it's one thing in running a rally, but a championship's a completely different thing, you know, and you have to be out all year. And every week you're trying to promote something and keep the thing going, you know, that's not easy. Definitely.
And to be fair, he's busy in his day job as well, so he's doing well to keep involved and trying to keep everybody happy. But
you know, everybody, including myself, after a rally, you'd be texting them on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, trying to get your car from an event. So there's plenty of torture going on, never mind doing stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Or then someone takes the tractor home or forgets to take it out of the car, and he has to go get that back as well. So.
Only one thing with that, you can find out where it is very easily. So
yeah. It was very funny. I worked actually as Aoife mentioned, going to Galway. I'll be in the tracking office in Galway, but I was in the tracking office in Board this year, and it was very funny. As it was my first time, and I was told by it was Aoife Doonan actually was in it as well, that you know when the day is over, the first thing to do is keep watching that screen and watch cars leaving Bergfirm and make sure that the tracker out. So you'd be ringing them. Just a quick call there, Les, just to remind you to take the tracker out. I was just doing it. One by I could just see him doing a U-turn on the map and coming back. I don't think they realise that.
If somebody breaks down or somebody goes off and we going off the yard and you're 35k closer to home, the last thing you do is turn around and go back, like, you know. There's nobody
What we started to do now is keep watching the screen, and we had kind of a 10 or 20 mile band around it, or whatever, 10 miles or a low thing. And when people went outside that, well, hold on, they're heading home. Get on the phone quickly before they get too far. But
I suppose we're here to talk about the Bushwacker, and that's what you want to do. But look, we're not going to obviously give away too much, but we can. If nobody's stupid, we haven't many more options than we have used up here. There's all the classics have been run. There's maybe one of them we're not going to come back to this year, given a rest. But we're doing something. Well, it has been done before. I can't say we're doing something different. We're making a stage slightly longer by looping it. So that's been done. We're probably going to have in around 57 kilometres. 4 stages done twice.
And where do you hope to? Where will it be based out of?
It's all based in Oma and the Mark in Oma. It's a full tarmac area and it's brilliant. Trailer park, everything, scrutiny, absolutely everything in the one place, and all roads from there, our rally headquarters and everything's on there. So not as bad as somebody driving like the other end of the country and nothing to do with Cork or whatever else. But we went to Cork on the weekend and every single thing was on a different place and it was all over the place, you know. So you bring people and you just get them to the one place and that's everything sorted, you know.
Yeah, it makes life so much easier, especially for the crews when they're trying to unload vehicles and that kind of stuff. So it does make for a more pleasant.
There's not a main road on your way home again. You know. The road section might be 10 miles slightly longer overall in the day because of being there, but nobody cares about that if all their men's going to be in a good safe place and good hard ground, you know.
Yeah, and not too much moving. Once they park, only park once and stay parked and then leave. Yeah.
And was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. We noticed because the service area was so close to the town, there was people coming out and going to the service area with their kids and whatever else to get them around. People that maybe not even interested in rallying, but they heard it's on and they go, you know, to see what's happening. If we're in IRGA or wherever and there's traffic jams, there's nobody going to come out there to see, you know, you're not locals and whatever else.
Yeah, well, that's all positive, like, because at least people get to see it and you never know, you might get a marshal out of it, you might get a timekeeper out of it, you might get someone to, you never know what it, you know, it's all good.
No, we hope they have a good entry. Look, as I say, there's still, I know Patrick O'Brien has the Forest Championship probably well held at the minute. But there'll be battles throughout the field. We can't guarantee Craig Green being there now, but we might have a few surprises, an international surprise. That's definitely for sure. Good
stuff. So I think to the date, it's a month. Saturday, the 17th of September. Yeah.
Will be a month today, right now. Yeah.
Good stuff. Niall, we'll leave it at that. We might give a shout out to NMG Quality Cars as well while we have you here. We'd be remiss of us not to. So thanks a million and the best luck. All right.
100%. Thanks for having me, lads. Cheers.
Come on.
See you, Niall.
So it's funny. I was laughing at the trackers there, and you were saying certain things, and having been involved with GA team, you know, quite recently or whatever, the trackers were used on players, and you know, there was one stage. Geez, that lad, his sprint speed is fucking ferocious. She had to go home in the car with it, like so. We're thinking,
put trackers on players, and they're all in the field.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Well, sure. I don't know, to see what kind of ground they're covering or what they should be covering.
You can see the ground they're covering. Look, open your eyes. They're there in front of you.
There we go now. There we go. You sound like...
That's a bit like putting a fucking lighthouse into a bog now. No, to be fair, like putting a tracker on a player on a football field, kicking a pig's bladder up and down the field. Yeah, okay. Moving on.
Go. Yeah, and our next segment here on Jurassic Park is... I'm going to bring in Richard Swanston, the chairman of the NIMC Ulster Rally this weekend. Richard, you're very welcome along. I think your microphone is muted. We might get you to unmute that. Are you hearing us there, Richard? He's hearing us. The microphone's muted just down in the settings on the bottom. There we go.
Gotcha.
How are we doing?
Eventually.
How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. And you?
Not too bad. You're busy?
Yes, just trying to catch up on the next 2 days worth of work this evening to give time to go rallying.
Yeah. Well, look, we won't keep you too long. You might give us a flavour of what we can come to expect over the weekend.
Yeah, do my best. So this year we're back to I suppose a full 2-day event, competitive stages on Friday evening and all day Saturday. night stage as well. Well, I suppose we had night stages last year, have been running in November, but the evenings aren't totally away yet. So there's a late stage on Friday night, which see all the crews tackling Steve Cullion in the dark. And then Saturday, the stages are running between Newry and Armagh out to regroup at the Armagh City Hotel. That'll start at 11:50, the first car, back to service, and then back out over the same loop of stages again, and then back for the finish ramp.
Yep. Anthony, go on ahead there. I can see you.
Yeah, it's an event, to be fair. I'm looking forward to it. I like the Ulster in the sense that what you read in the regs is what you get on the day. There is no deviation. It's not for everybody, but there's no deviation, but it does exactly what it says in the tin. And I like that type of an event. If it's to start at 1 o'clock, it will start at 1 o'clock. And it will finish starting time and finishing time. And everything is as per schedule. I like that. The service area and the grounds are in Modern Tires up in Newry. And you know something, it's nearly as much of a tourist attraction as it is a service area. It is the absolute finest service area you will ever see. Like your finish ramp and your podium, and I'm sure it's the same this year, is indoors. Like, just tell you the size of the place. Well, it was indoors last November in the bad weather, but
it was. Fingers crossed we might get it outdoors this year. No, you're right. I mean, we're so lucky with Modern Tires on board as a sponsor once again, and the provision of that facility. I just say it's a gift really to run a service park in it. We're very, very grateful.
I think the rally ran out of it before tires got sold out of it, or very close to it, certainly.
In November, the concrete was poured on the Tuesday, and we moved in on the Friday to do service.
Yeah, that's what it was. Just like it's what you call it, Kevin. I'll take a few pics and send them on to you. It's the whole service area for tire trucks, everything is all concreted. And it is as level as a billiard table. It's fabulous. And there's actually a plan sent out there on the app tonight that you know exactly where you're going to park. You know, everyone has allocated their slot, and you park in that slot. And your name and all is allocated. Your car is allocated a slot number. Brilliant location. And there's loads and loads of room. And a great atmosphere because there's loads of room for the public around. And one thing I see, there's a service. There's a service, one of the services which I like during these rallies is it's 90 minutes long. And a 90-minute service allows the people to mingle and it allows the public to walk around. I get a chance to look at the cars and see what's on show and so on and so forth. And it's all good. Of course, the difference this year is the refueling. We didn't have the refueling last year, so I see the refueling next door on the road book.
No, same place as last year.
I'm trying to picture the refueling.
Just a truckyard next door.
Actually, we did. I do apologise. You did right. I had to think for it. I didn't remember it in November. That's
all the same.
But no, it's a nice event. Of course, the night stage on the first night, mind you, it's a very, very tricky piece of road actually as well. So fellas want to have some manners on that. You'd be far better off losing 5 or 10 seconds up on that Steve Cullion stage now rather than attacking it. I think so. But yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted now.
Nice novelty again, Richard, in fairness.
Yeah, I mean, sort of as you were alluding to there in previous discussions, running these events is such an undertaking, and the biggest problem, especially on a Friday, is manpower. And Steve Cullion has the advantage of very few junctions, so it reduces the manpower requirements on the Friday evening.
Yep.
Is there an issue? I know certainly down this neck of the woods, Limerick, Kerry, Cork. I know certainly of the last couple of events that have ran, there is a huge issue with volunteers and we hear guys on there from Wexford, Gary Nolan, and they're trying to run incentives and that. Do you have the same issue? Is that a countrywide issue or is it just?
Yeah, it is absolutely. The biggest challenge is getting people out to march to the stages. Everything has to be documented in the safety plan now, and any deviation from that, you risk losing the stage, and that's the last thing we want as organisers. So yeah, it's a big challenge to get people out onto the stages, but all the volunteers that are running the event, and the stage commanders and the chief marshal, are putting in a huge effort now, and I believe at the moment everything's covered. So hopefully that stays, and we get everything running.
Good stuff. The streaming is back this weekend. I think you might have kind of led the way with that last year from memory, and it worked quite well, obviously. So you're obviously delighted to have that back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It does seem to work very well. It's a great setup that we have, that the guys have, and that they put on. And it just gives people a chance, I suppose, to observe the rally from afar. Plus, of course, all the footage is there for viewing in time. So if you're on there in the day and you miss part of it, it's all there for you to go back and look at. So yeah, it works really well for us.
Good stuff. Any last things you want to get across, Richard, before we let you go? I know you're busy there, so I won't keep you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, look, again, just a big thanks to all the volunteers who are organising this rally. I've taken a bit of a backseat this year, but the guys have stepped up and done a great job. And right through to everybody, including the volunteers, are going to come out. Some of them, I think, about out today to start setting up stages, and they'll be there then tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and probably Sunday clearing up as well. It's a big time commitment that those guys give, and we're very grateful that they do it, and that we can run such a successful rally. Anthony, you were very kind there with your words at the start, and really we only achieved that because of the commitment of the volunteers running the event, and so it's really credit to them that competitors such as yourself enjoy the event and keep coming back.
Good stuff. Richard, the very best luck, and we'll chat to you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you at the weekend.
Thanks, Richard.
God bless.
There we go. Brian Duggan is backstage. We're going to bring him straight in here. Brian, how's things?
Kevin and all, how are we doing, folks? Great show.
Not too bad.
Jesus, that's some t-shirt. We need to get a look at that. What? That's like your boy on Sheldon Cooper. What was he in the program?
I'm holding on to the last of the summer, Anthony. Trying to hold on to the last of it.
Actually, that's a damn good idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't have the physique now to wear something like that. I wouldn't be able to carry it off as good as you did.
I thought it was summer all year round down your way, Brian.
Sorry, Kevin?
Is it not summer all year round down your direction, no?
Not all. Well, locals think it is, but no, it's not. It's not, unfortunately, no.
Yeah. Well, listen, Brian, let's jump into the nitty-gritty. Firstly, thanks, because, obviously behind the scenes, you've been keeping me up to date. I mentioned earlier I was by no means a mathematician, did leaving cert twice. Now, when it comes to counting up points, that's a bit of a tall order for me. But then you put in drop scores, and you put in double points for this weekend as well. But the historics, as it has been this year, is obviously very, very competitive and could go anywhere. Now, before we actually do delve into that, you have a bit of news for us. Unfortunately, you're out.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had to withdraw.
Wow.
Lucas too, Judgy just sent his back. So, yeah, just flared up this week. We actually have Ricky done on Sunday. So, what's worse is we know what we're missing this weekend. It's I know, Anthony, you're heading up tomorrow. It's going to be a challenging rally. Especially if there's a bit of rain on Saturday, it's really going to make it interesting. But
the mileage is quite high, and so I'm just looking at it here: 12, 11, and 8 in miles now, not kilometers. Like that's
it is like it sounds small. It's only 9 stages, but it's not like Saturday, Friday evening there, like you've Steve Gullin, which is a challenge in itself. I actually done that stage a few times. I actually like it, and then the Bronte Homeland, I think that's only 18 miles.
Yeah.
Up above Banbridge. That's it's a fabulous stage.
I've done that before. Actually, you can answer a question, and it will. I have no doubt it's going to help multitudes that may be listening tonight. How many times can you get over the stages in the timetable? I think you would struggle to do it 3 times.
Yeah, we got some 3, some 2.
Yeah.
We got 3 for the Bronte Homeland because it's kind of a critical stage on the Friday. Like there's so little mileage on Friday, and with the championship being double points, or point each day, it's a critical stage, and as well the 3rd stage in the loop, Mount Pleasant on Saturday. That's a tough stage. sorry. No, I can move.
Right.
There's that's a tough stage. I think we got 3 runs out as well, and it's one of the reasons we said we'd go up on the Sunday was just do it all in one day, and then we'd have our in car from our recce that we could go study if we had to.
Watch it, yeah. Good point, yeah. It's the only thing is it was a fair trek up the road for both of you to.
It is, but I mean, look, you have motorway. You have it's whatever 3.5, 4 hours I think if you stop. So, but you have motorway nowadays, so it is. We just look Saturday night.
I suppose it's like everything. You've only one back. There'll be plenty of rallies.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back again. There's no fear there. No fear there. But yeah, just feel like everything was ready. Like the car was ready. The guys are ready. We had the recce done, and then. But that's how it goes. It's fine. It's fine.
So,
lads, I just want to jump in there because I did ask Adam Hall to come on from rallyinsight.com. Fantastic resource, I have to say, lads. If anyone, obviously, I'd say most people that are tuned in here are checking out rallyinsight.com, but if you're not, it's like the Bible for information in terms of events coming up as well. Rally.e is not too bad either, Brian. I better give it a shout out while I have you there. But he tried to bring us up to speed with everything in terms of the various categories, and I know you have your information and homework done on the historics. But let's start with the Tarmac Championship first. Currently with drop rounds, Josh Moffat 82 points, Ryan Evans 54. I'm not mentioning Callum Devine and Alistair Fisher because I believe both of them aren't out. Obviously, you've heard similar, yeah. So
Callum didn't entered.
So I'm just trying to go through the permutations as best I can, with obviously maximum points on offer after each day. Evans would have 88 points if he won both days. Because of dropped scores, Moffat needs to score 21 points to ensure he wins the title. A third and fourth place on each day would be enough for that. 2 4th place finishes if it's just Evans on the Ulster. So there we go with that. Rally 4 after drop points. Colwyn at 62, Kelly 54, Dixon 51, Modifieds, Reed 48, Stafford 44, Byrne 36. I actually have something to say about Mr. Byrne as well. He did get in touch with us. Garrett Black 30, Damien Toner 24, 34 points up for grabs. 12 points between Byrne and Reed. If Byrne on both days, Reed would need to be finishing third. Damien Toner 24 points behind. And yeah, I might let you bring us up to speed with the historics, but before I do, I'll call out this message here from Colin Byrne, and he was saying, how are you, Kevin? Great show. Just collected my navigator Stephen Quinn at Dublin Airport on the way to Ulster. This is only a few hours ago. Gave up half a week's holidays to make a difference this weekend, hopefully. Honda Modifieds, proper tough rally cars. Thought you might like that for tonight's show. There we go. So that's the commitment, that's the dedication. Do you want to give us a flavour of the historics then, Brian?
Yeah, it is on the driver's side. It's there's still four in it. Sorry, my own notes here. There's still 4 in it. Neil wins out in front. You've Duncan, Berrien, and Craig can all win it. But if Neil is same actually the main field, if Neil gets a third and a fourth, regardless of what everybody else does, he'll win the championship. He can't be caught. On the navigator side, Anthony really has it very much sewn up. If he just gets 1/4 place on Friday or Saturday, he will win the championship. Ashley Trimble needs maximum scores, and Anthony to score less than 1/4 to take the navigators. The best guy Mac William could do is level, and I think on drop scores, Anthony would still have it. So definitely in the drivers. I mean, it's 2 tough days rallying, so there's definitely there's still a battle there between the 4 lads. That's Neil Williams, Duncan Williams, Very Richard, and Craig McWilliam. So
it shows the camaraderie in historic rallying. I just got a message in here. I'll read it out to you. From all the historic gang, Luke and Brian will be missed over the weekend. Now, that could be taken anywhere. Like, they want you to stay at home.
Yeah, I know. We like
or do they want cheat? Or to be fair, it was in by Tommy command. So to be fair, it will be quite sincere. All jokes aside,
yeah,
there seems to be great camaraderie in the historic race.
Yeah, we have our WhatsApp group, and yeah,
he was telling me, yeah, brilliant.
I just let everyone know this evening that but unfortunately we won't be there. So they've been great support for that. But yeah, we'll be back again.
I have
Clarity
another
today.
texter.
We'll definitely be in Clarity.
I have another text in from a starting competitor wondering, does Anthony have a license for the dog? he was heard quite heavily when you first came on here about a half an hour ago. So
that's Hugo. Yeah, we have 2 little puppies here called Hugo and Boss, and that's Hugo. He's in the crate here behind me now. Yeah, I'm afraid he finds his voice when I stand up in the kitchen here. So. Yes, do I have a license for the dog? That comes with the television license, doesn't it? The dog license. They come together, don't they? I'm sure they're there somewhere.
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have a license to drive my car.
Yeah. Well, okay, lads. Let's kind of wrap it up now shortly, I suppose, because we have been on the air for an hour and 20, and I'm conscious that I don't want to let this go on the length of the Titanic. I do say that quite regularly, but predictions, I suppose, for the weekend. Is it even worth going into predictions in depth? We've tried this a few times this year, and it hasn't worked out that well. But
Josh
maybe Brian
will probably win the championship.
Yeah.
I think what does he do? Finish anywhere up?
3rd and 4th, I think.
3rd or 4th, I think, yeah.
Or 4th and 4th. I think the way things might be panning out now. So yeah, look again. You want serious brains to be able to work out the whole lot, but thankfully Adam Hall has those. I don't have the money, I can tell you that. Predictions for the historics, Brian?
In fairness, it's hard to look past Neil all year. Like he has been, every time he's been out, he's been on the pace. If it gets wet on Saturday, it could be interesting. Duncan could be a dark horse there. Like he was very, very quick in Galway. In wet and slippy conditions, so that's my prediction. That it's Neil, and then if it gets wet on Saturday, Duncan could be there.
Good stuff, Brian. Thanks for jumping on with us here this evening. Much appreciated.
That's all. Great show
throughout the campaign. Cheers, Anthony. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
No. Looking forward to getting up the road. It's probably 3 or 4 hours. It's Sunday. I think we're meeting in Modern Tires tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and we're out starting around 6:30 tomorrow evening or 6 o'clock that way. And that was handy information he had now, because I knew by looking at the loop that there's 5 separate locations: an 18, a 6, a 12, 11, and an 8 miler. And I'm saying, how the hell are you going to do all that in the time? So you won't do 3 runs, you're 2 and maybe 3 and an odd one. So it's handy. That's quite helpful, and I know it will be helpful to others like that. And what happens is, if you start doing the first stage 3 times, the second stage 3 times, the third stage 3 times, Jesus, next thing you realize, we're running out of time here, and then there's panic stations, and you tend not to do it right. So as at least if you know before you start that, okay, let's do 2 on everything, and let's go back and do a third, and let that be a bonus. Or like Brian did, which was a good idea, do a third run on the technical stuff. The second stage on Friday, the one near Banbridge, which if I turn my schedule, I'll find the name of it, which I can't remember. Is it Babylon? No, it's not Babylon Hill. Can't remember for the life of me. But yeah, it'll, that was helpful actually. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's normally we find it was the post-mortem program next Tuesday night is normally the one where we have all the stories
and we do tend to make it interactive as well. Now we'll see how we'll model that one next week, because we'll have winners of Tarmac championships from different classes and stuff like that. So we'll see how it pans out. But if not, we might have another interactive one in a couple of weeks' time. We'll see what way things pan out. But the very best luck, and thanks again for your company this evening. Much appreciated.
No bother. Good night,
Mr. Anthony Nestor. Thanks again. So just a quick shout out again to our sponsors this evening, SVS Productions and Tree Rock Display Signage Brandon, sponsors of the Tarmac and Forestry Championships respectively. If you want to get in touch with us, you can see on the bottom of the screen there at Irish Rally Pod. That's where we are on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram. And if you're enjoying the coverage, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee link underneath the post there as well, if you want to support our efforts for the price of coffee. If not, doesn't really matter a whole lot either. But we do appreciate when people do, when people have. So thank you very much for that indeed. Delighted to be doing this. It's great crack. And yeah, drive on, as the fella said. Thanks to our guests also, and thanks to you, viewers and listeners. Plenty tuned in there again this evening. We'll get the audio up on Spotify and all those places straight away after this. So give it about 20 minutes or so. It'll be available to listen only. But until next week, we'll be doing a wrap up here. We'll announce when that is, probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, but we will announce it well in advance. Maybe Sunday or Monday we'll announce it. So follow us on social media for more information. Until next time, take care.